Good Monday morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. No stock of the day today. We'll go right on to it with the S&P 500. Very close to testing the 5,146 resistance and the upper part of the cloud. It never closed below the cloud, and it also bounced off just above the rising trend line here. If RSI is closing above 60 threshold and we have the RSI, the RSI will be back in positive sentiment and the index will be back above 5,146 and above the cloud, then we are in bullish territory and a bullish trend with further upside potential. It seems to be warming up for it after this close here above the 55 moving average Friday, and also above this little peak here in this little uptrend here. So let's see if we can build on that. Nasdaq 100 closed below above 17,808. If it can also get back above 18,000 and especially RSI really needs to close above 60, well, then we are also back in bullish trend on the Nasdaq 100. It was below the cloud here, so it really needs to cancel that by closing above the cloud, and then it needs to close above and cancel some of these top candles right there. So moving on to the EuroStoxx50. Still range bound, 4,888 is the key support to look out for, and as we can see here, the EuroStoxx50 CFD, it's just trading around 4,900, so not really much change there. Same with DAX, also caught in this range here between 18,200 and a bit and 17,626. Those are the levels to break for upside or downside potential. If we get RSI back above 60, there's no divergence on our RSI, and it's still in positive sentiment, indicating we could see a push higher, and that will be confirmed by a break above 18,207. AEX Amsterdam actually did close above 883 Friday after a couple of tries, 3 or 4 tries actually, pushing towards the 900 level. If it takes out the previous peak there just below 895, well, then we are looking at 908, possibly higher on the Amsterdam index. The future, as you can see, it's all very close to test that. CAC 40 range bound, also 81.26 and 78.75 is the levels to look out for. The Swiss index, well, still a bit under weather. If it can get back above 11,380, maybe there's a potential up to 11,500, maybe even 600, but there are some strong resistance levels up here. So still a bit under pressure really on the Swiss market. Euro dollar spiked higher Friday, almost to the 786 retracement at 108.24. We got up to 108.13 a little bit. Testing this 61.8 again. Could it move higher? But interesting is, you should keep an eye on, is the 60 threshold here. RSI did not close above the 60 threshold. What I would do, I will actually draw a trend line, and this is what you can also do. Draw some trend lines on the RSI. It sometimes gives you a better picture of what's going on. If it does break below the rising trend line there on the RSI, I think we will. It's a very good indication that downtrend has resumed. But for now, it seems to trying to push higher. But there's really strong upper resistance here at the 100 moving average coming down. We have the 55, we have the 200 around 108. So really some strong resistance on your dollar. Cable spiked up to the 786 retracement, only to collapse, and but now we seems to trying to have another go, and if it can close RSI above 60, well, then there's potential further towards 127.10 previous peak here, and the cloud area for cable. But again, there is really some strong resistance in this region there also. The yen pairs in general, just across the board, and they look like they have done their correction. We have dollar yen almost touching the 55 moving average, coming up, giving some support. The 61 retracement at 151.75. nice bounce this morning. We are still in a bullish sentiment without the divergence on the RSI, indicating we are likely to see higher dollar-yen levels above the close here at 150. What is it? 158.34. A push back up to the rising trend line, and the 61.8 at 157 should be in the cards. Excuse me. We have Euro-Yen also bouncing from its 61.8 retracement at 164.29, dipped a little bit below, very close to the lower rising trend line there. Also, technical picture with the RSI still in a positive sentiment with no divergence, indicating a push higher. I think over the next few days we will see a move towards the 61.8 retracement, 168.75. And again, if it takes out the lows here from the past few days or last week on the yen pairs, this rebounding picture will be demolished, and the sell-off will continue. But for now, it seems like we are rebounding quite nicely. Aussie yen spiked below 61.8 retracement, actually between the 786 and the 786, but and the 61.8. But 1, 2, 3 times closed above. Here we had a massive doji, interesting one, and we are pushing higher now, and I think we will see a move towards the 61.8 at 103 in the coming days. Sterling yen bouncing off the lower rising trend line, actually went below the 786 retracement, but I also think we will see a push higher. We can also see no divergence on the RSI. We can actually remove this one because there's no divergence, as you can see. If it gets back above 60 threshold on the RSI, expect further upside potential for the sterling yen. And Aussie dollar spiked higher Friday in a massive move, took out the 786 retracement towards 66.45. Previous peak and resistance. We can adjust this one a little bit. There we are. If it does close above, well, then we are looking at the 67.50 level. If it's being rejected, it expected to slide back lower. Dollar Canada, interesting move Friday. As you can see, it dipped. It actually lost momentum after this massive move, and then it dipped below the 136.18 support, but it then strong bounce towards the end of the session. I believe we will see slowly picking up again. There's no divergence on the RSI, still positive sentiment. It is indicating we are likely to see higher levels on the dollar Canada, but it is struggling a little bit at the moment. Moving on to dollar Swiss. 90 seems to be really strong support around that level. It spiked just above there, and again Friday spiked to just a few pips above, and I think we will see a bounce here the next few days. If it does break below, and I think a break will be enough, not a close, then we could see a further sell-off down below 89. Otherwise we should pick up uptrend again. Dollar index spiked below strong support at 104.84, but did close above, and also above the lower rising trend line. And I think we'll see over the next few days, coming week or so, it is slowly crawling back above 105.30, and if it does, well, then there is again potential up to 106.33. If it does close below 104.84, well, then we could see further selling down to 104, maybe even 103.65. Gold seems to be some strong bids around 22.80 level here, 4 days in a row. It didn't really, it couldn't really push it lower towards the 22.55 resistance, support that I actually expected it to do. If it can get back above and close above 23.20, then the resistance at 23.53 could be tested. Close above that, well, then we are back in bullish trend. And that could be confirmed if RSI is closing back above 60 threshold and back above the falling trend line there. Still in a correction phase, but keep an eye on those key levels. Silver, fairly strong barrels on silver. If I can get an update, there we are. Around the 61.8 retracement, didn't really respect that levels that much. We could have seen a sell-off down to key support here, but we didn't. And now we have seems to be having a strong rebound. If it will actually materialize into something really strong with a new uptrend, let's see. If it takes out that little peak there, 27.75, expect a push towards 29 level. If it takes out the lows here at 26, the 25.5 could come under pressure. Moving on to other markets, let's just have a quick look at copper. Seems to be bouncing strongly. I actually did expect it dropping to the 38.2 retracement at 441.5. Well, it can still unfold, but I'm not quite sure it will. It seems like we are pushing towards previous peak there. And there's still, as we have talked about before, there's still room up to around 490 and a change, maybe around 500. On the energy side, WTI crude oil bouncing off its lower rising trend line. It did break below this one, so we can remove it. It's not that strong. And the 100 moving average also giving some. So the we are in a negative sentiment, we are in a bearish trend, so the low rising trend line and the cloud support and the 100 moving average could be broken. Keep an eye on the next couple of days, and we can also see here the 55 moving average starting to slowly turn around. Whether that will be giving it a pressure, it remains to be seen. Moving on to Brent, below the support line, below the low rising trend line, still above the cloud or in the cloud, it's not below. Also the 100 moving average giving some support. Key support at 81.42, that could come under pressure with the negative sentiment or RSI. If it moves back above the 200 moving average and back above $85, I think we will see a push a little bit higher in the coming days. But we are in a bearish trend. Finally, on the US Treasury yields, currently testing the 447 minor support. We could see a test of the lower rising trend line and possibly also dipping down to around 434 retracement or support level here, where we also have the 55 moving average. We have the 200 moving average coming up. So we are a bit in a correction phase. And I think we should have a look at the actual future that, as you can see here, Friday actually got rejected at 109.8. Resistance could push higher, but we need the RSI to close above 60 for further upside. And if that plays out, well, then we are looking at levels around the peak here, the minor peak we had here at 110.29, around that level, just below 111. So keep an eye on these resistance levels there. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and have a trading.